Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Goots. I'm here with the homie Anthony, and we're the final two talking about the final four. How you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing great, man. Doing good. How are you? What did you watch recently?
I watched Final Four. I didn't. So I want to start the show talking about last night. We're recording this on Thursday. Last night was AEW Dynamite. They were in the Mexican arena, and as you know, AEW are beautiful, innocent souls. So when they work with Mexicans, it's great, and it's so nice that they're helping them out. When WWE works with them, they're obviously turning them into like slaves. But yeah, I hate, dude. I do not like the attitude, and this turns me off AEW more than anything else. The attitude that AEW is everything they do is good, and even if they make a mistake or treat someone like shit, it's pure hearted, and everything WWE is evil. And even if WWE like rescues a bunch of like starving children from a sex trafficking boat and like find some families and stuff. They're doing it because eventually this is gonna fuck them in the ass or something. I'm so sick of that fucking attitude. It's such a shit, stupid fucking attitude, and it turns me off of AEW. It turns me off, and I think you're actually mentally ill if you think every fucking decision AEW makes and everyone in AEW is just sunshine and fucking rainbows. You know?
Yeah, and you know what I noticed? Mexico is like the new battleground.
Yeah.
Where they're gonna where the AEW and WWE are now gonna start waging war in Mexico. I think things are gonna get very exciting for the Mexican wrestling fans. What do you think? Do you think that's like it's gonna be fun, right? It looks like it's gonna be fun.
I mean, the thing about Mexico is there's gonna be a lot of new fans because ICE is constantly bringing it.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
the viewership just go up. So you might as well get there now. Yeah, I think I thought last night the show looked great. I heard the show did not advance any storylines, and people didn't like that about it.
Hmm.
I don't think. I think that AEW and WWE and every company should do shows that look different like this. I think it adds to the company. When TNA, we weren't close, but 10 years ago, TNA was doing shows at ballparks, including in Brooklyn and Coney Island. And it had an amazing look. It looked big time. And they didn't
So
film any.
when you mentioned TNA, I actually people don't realize this, but I think TNA very early on they were doing um Wrestle Kingdom with New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
So Wrestle Kingdom is like the WrestleMania of New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? And
Yeah.
I think if you watch the early ones, I'm gonna even look it up right now. If you watch the first two or something involve like TNA wrestlers. Like it was like a mixed bag of TNA wrestlers and stuff.
Mhm.
It might have been I the it, but anyway, but when TNA would go over there and do that, yeah, it was WrestleMania 2. WrestleMania 2 is where they
Wrestle
started doing
Kingdom
that.
2. Wrestle Kingdom 2 was not
Yeah,
WrestleMania 2.
Wrestle Kingdom 2. I'm sorry. Wrestle Kingdom 2 is where they started doing that, where they sent TNA talent like Kurt Angle, Abyss, Christopher Daniels, and they sent them over to New Japan to do Wrestle Kingdom 2. And then they would show the matches. Do you remember when they would show the matches on the TV? And I
Yeah.
remember this so much. I was like, this is so different, and I enjoyed it because they were in a different setting and everything. And I agree with you. More right now it's happening, so thank God. But everybody should have already. WWE should have been doing this 10 years ago. You know,
Yeah.
and this is another thing why we should thank AEW. I know I shit on Tony Khan a lot, but they are the ones who push WWE to really start thinking outside think outside the box. Everything that we're enjoying WWE do right now, it's because of AEW. Like this whole thing when they bought AAA, it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for AEW. So let's give credit where credit is due with that.
Well, I'll tell you, the one thing that definitely would have happened if it was for AEW, Cody Rhodes, if he did come back, probably would have came back as an agent or a producer, or he would have been on NXT fucking with Sean Spears. There's no way. If Tony
Mm-hmm.
Khan goes, I'm not starting AEW, there is no way, and I don't care how hot his New Japan run becomes, Cody Rhodes is in the position he's in right now. There's an absolute, and I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm saying that it took what Tony Khan did to make Triple H and Vince McMahon and everybody else see him differently. And the other reason why he's in the position he's in, the reason why fucking Bischoff and Bruce Pritchard were hired in 2019 was because to get him away from Tony Khan. Because I can guarantee you, and I'm Bruce Pritchard, I'm sure will never admit this, that Tony Khan and Conrad probably had a talk about Bischoff and Bruce Pritchard coming aboard when the company was first starting. Obviously, now that's off the table, but I guarantee you, and Bruce Pritchard is the guy that pushed for them to have serious conversations with Cody Rhodes about coming back and
Yes.
told Cody that he could be the top guy. And I think Bruce getting in Vince's ears for 3 years helped Vince see Cody as a top guy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we shit on him a lot, but there's a lot to be thankful for AEW for. Yeah, but I did not see that show, that Grand Slam in Mexico yet, but I am hoping to see it over the weekend when I have some time. Absolutely.
Now, I don't like defending AEW. We're doing too much of it. It makes me sick. But I got to keep defending. I got a lot of problems with AEW. Number one, the fact that Tony Khan wakes up every morning. Big problem. But I'll tell you the one thing I don't have a problem with, and seemingly everyone on the planet is livid about this. And if you got fucking issues, if this is a problem for you, is the Mercedes Mone belt collector storyline. Mercedes won the CMLL title from I don't know who to who because nobody gives a fuck about this belt. Let's fucking be honest. Nobody cares. So I don't know why people are upset that someone that people actually know has this belt finally, but she won the CMML women's belt last night, I guess, or whatever the fuck it's called. And now she's at 6 belts, and people are pissed. They're calling her Mercedes Hogan. They're this, that, and the third. Nobody cares about it, which is why they keep giving her belts. All this bullshit. No,
yeah, but that's not even accurate because Hulk Hogan didn't have that many belts in his run. They're thinking more like they should have called her Mercedes Ultimo Dragon, if anything.
Well,
you know?
they don't know because these people who sit on the internet all day and they're WWF lifers, they don't know anything about Ultimo Dragon. They don't even know anything about fucking Sean O'Hare. They're so fucking stupid. These idiots that go on the internet all day. If you're gonna fucking shit on AEW, back it up. All right, that's my thing. Now, it's clear to me, and it's clear to anyone with half a fucking brain, that Mercedes Mone is trying to break Ultimo Dragon's record. Now I'm gonna shit on AEW. I don't understand why they don't have Excalibur or Tony Schiavone say, Ultimo Dragon had 11 belts at once. Mercedes just needs 5 more, and she can tie his record. Maybe they're not doing that because Ultimo Dragon has said he doesn't want to work with them. He doesn't want to show up. So maybe they're like, don't call attention to him. But I think they need to start telling fans that that's the end goal. Because first of all, that should be the end goal. Mercedes should break Ultimo Dragon's record. I think that would be a lot of fun to watch.
I think so. Also, guys, if you're upset about this, just remember it's not real, right? It's scripted this way. Yeah, it's scripted this way, and if you are getting super agitated, that might be what they're going for. So you are actually behaving the way they probably designed it to be. I don't remember people getting this upset when Kenny Omega was collecting belts. Granted, he only had like 3, I think, at most, but still.
Yeah. Well, I got upset because
I don't remember fans getting so pissed like when he did it, right?
Well, I got upset because they abandoned it halfway through.
Yeah, I got upset because he didn't go all the way. But what I'm saying is when he was belt collecting, people weren't like upset like as they are right now. Something about Mercedes or Sasha Banks. She's a very polarizing character in wrestling, and
we know someone
they love her or hate her, whatever she does. And those of you guys who are wondering what kind of belt she has, let me just, for those of you guys who don't really watch wrestling, just listen to us. Mercedes Mone, Sasha Banks, currently holds 6 championship titles. They are the AEW TBS Championship, the CMLL World Women's Championship, New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship, Rev Pro in England, Rev Pro's undisputed British Women's Championship, the EWA Women's Championship. I have no idea what that actually is.
Wow, not the EWA. Well, she's really ruining wrestling.
Yeah, EWA. I gotta look that up. And the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament Championship belt, the women's belt. So those are her 6 titles. I'm gonna have to look this one up, the EWA. But
Oh,
I agree. She needs to win more.
yeah.
I think she needs to win more, 100%.
Now, if she loses any, this was a waste of time. She needs to win
Yeah,
more before losing
she
more.
has to win more. She has to not. I want her to be. I want her to get like Ultimo Dragon levels. We're talking like
Yes,
what was the most he had? 9, 10.
11. I counted 11.
Okay, so she needs to get to 11. She needs to get to 11. Yeah,
She has to end it with 12. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
the belt. This is what I would do. I think the belt for her to break the record because I want everyone to fucking their heads to explode. Her final belt should be the TNT title. She should beat Daniel Garcia for the TNT title. That should be the last. First of all, the ship is still Daniel Garcia. I see no future in. He has brought nothing to the table since he re-signed a year ago. He is a zero. I gotta say, Triple H probably thank God he didn't sign this fucking loser. Ship has sailed. Let him lose to Mercedes Mone, and let her brag if she has a men's belt. That's what I would do. That would be the final belt. Is that she beats Daniel Garcia. I don't think
That
you
would be.
agree.
That would be. I wouldn't be upset with that. Yeah. I mean, is anybody even paying attention to that title? Because I'm not.
No, because he sucks.
Yeah.
Daniel Garcia fucking sucks, and I can't believe I used to see kind of a future for him, and I'm embarrassed that I did. He's fucking garbage, and let him. I would say let her squash him. Like I don't even think like it should be competitive. And then she has like the final belt, and it's a men's belt, and then she can say, "Not only did I break the record, but I broke the record with women's titles and men's titles. In fact, let her win a men's world championship in like Beyond Wrestling or something. Who cares?
I'm trying to think. What other titles? Yeah. Beyond Wrestling. What else could she win
She could
theoretically?
MLW. She could win something in MLW,
Yeah,
NWA.
if they could get like a partnership going again with MLW, and she could win an MLW title. Uh,
She should win the Ring of Honor belt from Athena. That should have been the
oh
old.
yeah. Ring of Honor. You could totally do the Ring of Honor one.
There's two women's belts in Ring of Honor that she can win. Let her win both. Fuck it, who cares? Dude, I say just give her all. I say give her the. I say let her beat Hangman, that empty-headed dumb fuck Hangman and John Moxley. Let her win all. Let her win all the belts. Like, I think it's cool. I don't. If you have a problem with this, is why people don't take like critics of AEW seriously. Because if you have a problem with this, you don't actually have a leg to stand on. I think. There's a
Yeah,
lot
I
to complain about.
kind of think yeah. This is like I so far have not read anybody getting upset about this. I don't
Oh,
know
it's
who.
all over Twitter. It's all over Twitter.
See, this is the benefits of not being on Twitter, folks.
Yeah. I just you have nothing going on in your life that just upsets you. Gino, who's very really mad about it, JD from New York. He's one of those
Katie
guys.
from New York was upset about it,
Oh, he's very upset about it. It's
but
like
what was he upset about?
because he just feels that like she's burying the whole women's roster and like the whole show, and like she's just burying everybody, and there's no storyline. All this bullshit. Went on a rant. He's a guy. I used to make fun of you on the old show, like, oh, you hate women. He's a guy who hates women. Like, if a woman wrestler does one thing that annoys him, he goes like he goes over the
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah, he really hates women, I think, and not only that, he seems to like hold a grudge. Like he won't let it go. Like he
Yeah,
will hate them for the rest of his life or some shit like that.
like the way he goes after women, he should be going after John Cena like this right now. Because I think what I'm saying,
Mhm.
like, or the Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman thing. He gives a lot of leeway to shitty men's storylines, but goes fucking ballistic if a woman has a shitty storyline.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he holds like some kind of weird grudge against women that he like from that point on he's got a bias against them. So he will
Yeah.
whenever they do anything wrong slightly, he just I can't believe she's at it again. It's like, what do you mean she's at it again? You know?
Yeah. I feel like he's the type of guy that will hit his girlfriend. Like if the dinner isn't ready after 2 days, you get a fucking Stone Cold Stunner from
He's
him.
like one of those guys who like asked like a really hot Latina out, and she like rejected him. So he like joins ICE and is like, we gotta get rid of all of them, like those kind of people. Like that's like, dude, that's what happened. Somebody, some hot Latina turned down one of those white boys, and they ever since then they held a fucking grudge, and that's why they were like, we got to get rid of all of them. We got to go. It's like, dude, bro, let it go. Like, get over it. But that's what
by,
Jimmy is like. He gives off that same energy. You know.
by the way, 'cause I've seen both him and Sean Ross Sapp, like when people like us like criticize them, they get mad, like, oh wow, you guys are just projecting on me or something. No, 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 no. Think about the energy you put out in the world, and this is why we make these assumptions. If you have calm, rational responses to Mercedes Mone winning a title that you don't care about, we're not going to assume that you punch women in your private life. Okay, same with Sean Ross Sapp. You bring out this weird energy on social media, so we're going to think you're a weirdo. Just remember the energy you put out in the world, and don't get mad when people like assume things. Maybe JD from New York, maybe you fucking treat your girlfriend or your AI girlfriend like gold, but you're not putting that energy out in the world when you scream and yell about Mercedes Mone winning about that's I sound like I feel like an idiot. Saying that like having to defend this fucking loser woman, Mercedes and her belt quest, but it's just some of the attitudes I see online is like, shut the fuck up. Okay, so let's talk about something that actually matters, something that's actually good, because fuck AEW. Here's the thing, too. By the way, AEW is not a good show. The show stinks. The show is unwatchable. It's horrible.
Wait. Not AEW. Not AEW.
No, I'm talking about AEW. I'm talking about AEW. I have no interest in All In. But the Mercedes thing isn't the problem. Anyway, we're talking now about In Your House, Final Four. I thought this was an show until the main event. The main event blew me the fuck away. What did you think?
Yeah, it was not a good show, and the main event was all right. It was what do you call it? I guess we'll have to. So this is a February In Your House Final Four is a February WWF pay-per-view. I would like to see the WCW pay-per-view to compare who had the better February pay-per-view, because
I'm not saying that they took away WCW because I have no idea what happens on the show, but I'm just saying that I enjoy.
Me too, but I will say so far, I don't think Final Four is like really. I don't think it's really that important if you missed it. Like it's not it's all right. It's just an okay. Not even the main event is that amazing. I don't think that's
I'll tell you who kind of hurts this show, and he hurts everything. He's such a fucking. You know how people react to CM Punk? Like I told you that time I was in that group chat, and when Punk did the Jack Perry thing, they acted like CM Punk like beat up their sister, right? People like viscerally react to seeing it like drama, even though you're not there. I feel like Shawn Michaels should listen to that response, because Shawn Michaels does stuff that genuinely affects the programming, and it's just messy girl bullshit drama. I'm so glad this pay-per-view had the whole "I lost my smile" speech, because I can't wait to talk to you about it. But again, this Final Four match, was supposed to be the winner faces the WWE champ at WrestleMania, and they had to just make it now the winner's the champ because Shawn Michaels lost his smile. But let's get into it.
Yeah, he does kind of ruin it, but we'll get to that. There's a lot of show that is on par with being as bad as Shawn Michaels on this. It is the In Your House Final Four. This is the 13th edition of In Your House, taking place February 16th, 1997. We are already in 1997 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Over 6,000 people are in attendance. 141,000 pay-per-view buys. This is the best pay-per-view buy drawing In Your House since In Your House 6. Remember, I said this is the 13th In Your House. The last time they drew this many pay-per-view buys is In Your House 6. That's a long time, right?
You want to know why it's so big? Because people were guaranteed they're going to see a new champ.
That's a good point. Good point, Ray. All right.
Guys have not been well. First of all, Undertaker has been champ since '91. Austin and Vader have never been champs in WWE. So you're gonna see history being made no matter who wins the main event. So I think a lot of people are like, I want to see who's the champ going into WrestleMania. You know?
Yeah, I think that probably explains it. So comparison, in your house, it's time, which is the one right in January. It drew over 5,000 people. Only had 97,000 pay-per-view buys. So you see that difference. It's like you get like 50,000 more pay-per-view buys. However, on the other side of the pond, WCW Super Brawl, which is their February pay-per-view, which takes place February 23rd, like about a week after In Your House Final Four. It had 13,000 over 13,000 people and 275,000 pay-per-view buys. So WCW is still kicking. It's not even a contest. They're still kicking WWF's ass in both numbers. Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper. That's still a draw.
You can't compete with that shit. Yeah.
Bro, I was listening to. Again, I'm a year behind, but Bruce Pritchard hasn't been on the show for like almost a year, right? And now it's JBL. But they're talking about SummerSlam '94, and Conrad goes to him. He's become horrible. The closer we get to the end of his run, he's become horrible. Were you nervous about Hogan going to WCW? He goes, no, not really. And it didn't really affect their business and until the NWO. And really, he didn't really mean that much to them. And Conrad has to correct him, but not as aggressively as he used to. And he goes, yeah, I guess it was good business for them. And I want to be like, Bates, shut the fuck up. Can't you just be fucking honest that this fucking guy going to WCW almost drove you out of business? You're such a fucking, you're such a fucking fat loser, bro. Shut the fuck up. Look at how
you're looking at the numbers here. Just look at the numbers. The WCW February pay-per-view where Hogan's the main event, it's outdrawing the Final Four pay-per-view buys by over 100,000. That's a lot. That's a lot. If you think about how much 1,000 people is, right? Just think about how much 1,000 people is, right? And then you multiply that. Then you got to think 100,000 of those. That's how much, and it was over. They drew 100,000 more. So 100% Hogan and Piper. Like we can't forget Piper. They both massive draws.
Dude, chasing Hogan
out of business levels.
I keep saying this, and I'm going to say it until I'm blue in the face. Chasing out Hogan and Savage in favor of Brett and Shawn was a massive mistake. It didn't work out in the end. The only reason it worked out is because Bischoff saw nothing in Steve Austin. If Bischoff gave Steve Austin even the tiniest bit of a fucking push, Vince McMahon would be handing out hand jobs at Penn Station right now. All right? Fucking, that's it. Like, you lucked out. But you turned on Hogan, and it almost cost you everything. Just fucking admit it. Just fucking admit it.
Yeah, I don't understand why they still can't admit it. It's like, dude, you still won at the end of the day. Yeah. It's better to admit, like, you're failing, and because of the poor decisions I made, I was failing, but I was still able to turn it around through hard work and determination, and now I rule the wrestling industry. Like, it would be, I just don't think it's little dick energy. It's little dick energy is when you're insecure.
Because they're still insecure. Because ultimately, Andrew, I think what we're learning is that WWF comes back more so because of the massive mistakes that WCW makes. Not so much because of the great decisions Vince made.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it is, and we're gonna probably start seeing it as we're watching more WCW pay-per-views. But let me tell you something: a lot of mistakes in this In Your House Final Four. All right. Well, let's start the show. It begins with a intro hype video for the Final Four main event, and then they show us the sad Shawn Michaels. Oh, the sad Shawn Michaels brought us to this point. He lost his smile. It is brought to us by Western Union. And when they do the intro to the fucking show, they have this cheap like NBA, you know that NBA on NBC like rollerball theme song. Like they have like a cheap version of that playing. I was like, oh god. Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler are on commentary. No Vince Jr. on commentary. Why is that?
I know in the May pay-per-view, his best friend's mom died, and he didn't do that pay-per-view. And
Oh,
Conrad asked, "There's something going on there." Conrad goes, "His best friend's mom died, so he didn't go to the pay-per-view." And Vince goes, "That woman meant a lot to him, and there's like something that's a deep, deep friend of his." And Vince didn't talk about it much, but those people meant a lot to him. And I'm wondering who those people are. He just doesn't go to the show to go to this funeral. That's very rare.
that's
This
very
one, I'm
rare
not
for
sure.
Vince Jr. Yeah, that's very rare. Like
Well, I mean, we'll talk about
this
that when we get
motherfucker,
to
this motherfucker, if it was legal, he would make people work on Christmas, right? Like,
But he did make people work on Christmas. They had a live
oh
Raw.
yes, that's right. He did make people work. So yeah, this is very weird that he would miss a show for. It's not even an immediate member of the family. It's very
That's in
weird. I
May,
feel
though.
bad.
That's in May. That's not
Oh,
there. But I don't know why
oh,
he missed this one.
we gotta
Maybe he
find
just, you know what? Maybe with all the changes, he was just like, it's better if I'm in the back producing. I'm just taking a guess here, and like you
out.
guys do commentary, because they had to change around everything. Because literally on a live Thursday Raw, Shawn Michaels does this, and then Sunday's the paper.
Yeah, they don't actually know why he wasn't on commentary for this one. Anyway, so it's Jim Ross and Jerry King Lawler, and on the Spanish announce side, we got Hugo Savinovich and Carlos. I mean, the French side, we got both Rougeaus. No, not both. Ray Rougeau, and no longer his dad there, but Jean Brassard has replaced one of the Ray Rougeau's father. Let's go to our first match. Mark Merrow with Wild Man. Mark Merrow, I should correct myself, with Sable versus Leif Cassidy. Leif Cassidy of the new Rockers go on to be called Al Snow later on. But here he is now, I think, full blown heel. He starts working over Mark Merrow's leg around the post. And while he's doing this, Sable just kicks him. Sable just kicks Leif Cassidy right in front of the referee. The referee doesn't call a DQ. But this allows a distraction to Leif Cassidy for Merrow to kind of attack briefly and then like try to get an advantage. But Leif Cassidy keeps working that left leg of Mark Merrow's. Leif even puts Mark Merrow in the figure 4 in the ring, but then Sable, once again interfering, helps Mark Merrow grab the ropes. Like she pushes the ropes towards him. This pisses off Leif Cassidy because now he's like, well, this bitch is fucking kicking me outside the ring. Ref, you're not calling it. I could have won this match. He's helping him get the ropes. So he goes outside to confront Sable. He's mad, and she slaps Leif Cassidy in the face. And so he starts stalking her around the ring. As they're going around to where the entrance area is, Mark Merrow dives onto Leif Cassidy onto the floor from the ring, and then he starts mounting a comeback. But there's like no intensity in Mark Merrow's comeback. This was like a weird change for Mark Merrow because Mark Merrow used to always, I loved his intensity, but it was like this match where you're watching him do his comeback, he's just going through the motion. Like he knows he has to do this comeback spot right here, so he's just doing it, but there's like not that, he's missing the intensity. He hits his wild thing, shooting star press to win the match. I just gave this a C. This is not a good opening match. It's just a very average opening match, in my opinion. What did you think?
No way should this have been on pay-per-view. A complete fucking waste of time. Feels like a house show.
Yeah.
Man, you know what I was thinking though? It is crazy to me that you give Al Snow a mannequin head and he becomes a completely different wrestler and he becomes over and we still talk about him to this day. Like
Yeah.
that's my thing, like, because Al Snow technically has all the tools, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter, bro. Like you just do one little adjustment and the guy, like, we're always gonna remember him. We're always gonna remember him. But
Dude, you could say the same thing with Billy Gunn, right? Like Billy Gunn, like he's a good wrestler and he's got a lot of charisma in the ring, even as the Smoking Guns Billy Gunn, but you don't really see anything past that. And when you put that one thing, the ass thing in there, and it's like a completely different human being. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a completely different human being. It's it's so
Yeah.
interesting. It is.
But yeah, this match, Sable looked great though. I'll tell you that. This
Sable is
match was
very pre-surgery Sable. She has legit like a movie star face.
that's why she made a difference in the ratings. Yeah, it was all right. That wasn't all right. It was horrible. Horrible start. Horrible start.
Yeah, it's an average match. But you see your opening match shouldn't be average, and you're right, it shouldn't be on pay-per-view, you know?
You get the sense that Mark Mero knows he's not going to go anywhere, and he doesn't really give a shit anymore. That's the sense I get.
Yeah, that's the sense that I got because um if you go back and listen to our other coverages of these Mark Merrill's matches, we talk about how he's not that bad of a wrestler. He's got great intensity, right? That was always his number one. That was the number always his best attribute, his intensity. His wrestling moves, sometimes they were a little sloppy, but at least he always like had that energy. And in this match, he really does it. He's just like going through the motions. And I think it's because, dude, he went from being in the Intercontinental title hunt, right? He's even champion. He's opening with Leaf Cassidy, one member of the New Rockers. I mean, that's a demotion. Like it's a demotion, and I think he knows, so he just like wasn't putting his best foot forward. That's how it seems to me.
It's a terrible opener.
Yeah, it's just not good. It's too bad. But let's so after this, um, the Honky Tonk Man is out. He is back.
The real star of this fucking company.
Yeah, yeah. How long was Honky Tonk Man out with this company?
He comes back for a year. He's in Montreal. Have you seen Wrestling with Shadows?
With yeah, the documentary with Bret Hart, yes.
Bro, he's riding with Bret and Owen to the arena, and they're talking about like, what if Vince tries to fuck with me? So he's there for about a year. They try to make him the manager of Rockabilly. It doesn't work out. I don't know what else he does, but he's at Survivor Series '97. I know that. When he's sitting in the car with Bret, I'm like, oh, these two must have been closer than we've known. You know?
I mean, you know what it's like? It's Poppy also like, you guys are veterans of the same era, almost, right? So, like, did you ever do like a comedy show where you don't know anybody, but except for this one guy who, that you kind of came up around same time. Yeah. So, but I'm friends. Like that was like me and Gary Garcia. It was like, hey, I remember seeing this motherfucker since 2013. So like even though we weren't close friends, at least we have mutual experiences, or that alone, like we're soldiers of the same struggle, so that kind of, maybe that's what it was. I'm just looking it up. Honky Tonk Man was last in WWF in 1991, right?
Before this, yes.
Yeah, so he came back around 1996 for a brief stink, and then he just kind of comes and does this stuff. It's very interesting. Honky Tonk Man is somebody, he's like Boogeyman. And he keeps coming back to this company. They're like, he's always got like an open invitation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember, he was in like Taboo Tuesday. He was like he just shows up randomly, like all the time, right? Like it's very interesting. I like that about him. But anyway, Honky Tonk Man is here in 1997. And then they give a recap. The commentary team, they give a recap of Shawn Michaels having to give up his belt due to a knee injury. And he's like, oh, I used to be tough. I just don't have enough of it anymore. I just lost all my toughness, and I just lost my smile. That fucking infamous promo he does where he gets the belt. Gorilla Monsoon, who's the acting president of WWF, he goes, all right, well, now this changes everything. So the winner of the final four number one contender is now not the number one contender. It's just the champion now. And will face Sid for, I guess, to defend the title on Raw the next night. So right after this pay-per-view, the next night, they're going to have to defend against Sid. Kevin Kelly, so now they cut to Kevin Kelly in backstage. He's with Sid and talking to him about, hey, how do you feel about this? And Sid starts yelling, time this, time that, time for me to get my title back. Typical Sid yelling promo, which is fine. What did you think about this whole recap of what's going on with Shawn Michaels losing his smile? Let's start with there. Shawn
Yeah,
Michaels
we got
losing his smile promo. Start with that.
smile. I think Shawn Michaels is one of the biggest pieces of shit on the fucking planet when I hear this speech. Okay, I think number one, he wasn't injured. He lied. There's no proof, but everyone believes he lied. I believe he lied. He lied. What I think basically what happened was he realized they're not going to draw with him at WrestleMania as the champ. They're getting their asses kicked by WCW. He wasn't a draw. I think he knew like the move that Vince probably had to make was have Shawn get people over. He was supposed to lose to Sid that night, by the way. He's supposed to fight Sid that night and lose.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna guess now that we're a little bit further in the timeline. Undertaker was gonna win the final four, and then it was gonna be Undertaker versus Sid at Mania, and then it would have been Shawn versus Brett at Mania too. And I think the plan was for Brett to beat Shawn. And because that Stone Cold
without the title,
I think without the title, yeah. I think
yeah,
without maybe they would have had Brett get the title back, but I don't know. And I think Shawn was like, no one's gonna buy this WrestleMania. Because by the way, Uncensored outdraws WrestleMania in a month. No one's gonna buy this WrestleMania. I've already been proven to be a fucking failure. I'm gonna pretend I'm injured and go away. And in a business full of carnies and liars, that speech to me is one of the most carny, like conniving, like I don't feel like going into work even though I feel fine type of speech. And I lost when he says I like was the leader of the industry for a year. No, you weren't. You drove the company into the ground because nobody at AEW's proven this gives a fuck about work rate. You are not good at promos. You are not believable fighting fat guys. You made Vader look like a fucking moron. You've heard the only person you've helped is Sid. Everything you look like you're on drugs half the time. You you have done nothing. You have proven. Yeah, you're a great worker, but you have proven you're not the guy. That's what you've done for a year. You've proven that Vince McMahon made a major mistake pushing you. And rather than lay down for the people that are going to save the company, that are the ones who have it, say what you will about Mark Calloway today, Undertaker, Steve Austin, even Brett. You rather than lay down for the people that the fans actually want to see, you're gonna fucking run away. And fuck you. And you know what? This is the other thing. Watching this promo, they realize I'm gonna shit on women now. Women are fucking idiots. Did you see all the women basically in tears for this fucking guy's speech? Like, maybe they're plants. I don't think they're plants though, because literally Shawn Michaels, right before he goes on the air, tells Vince he's gonna do this. So I don't think Vince then hired a bunch of broads to sit in the audience. I think this was a real reaction of women. They acted well. Again, they don't know the future. They don't know that he's going to ship.
Dude, one thing, Shawn Michaels is a terrible champion drawing, but one thing we've both watched this whole run so far, his championship run, women love Shawn Michaels. They love Shawn Michaels. That's why women. But it's proof that women aren't as smart as men.
And because of this move, you're also ensuring that WrestleMania is going to be a failure because now Vince has 4 weeks to reshuffle the card because you're supposed to be a major focus of the card. Everything has been building to you having another big match in WrestleMania. Everything since WrestleMania 12, every single storyline. And now you just run away. And that also hurts the draw. So in a way, like, it's like, you're just fucking drama. You're just like a hot chick who causes it's like that rest in peace Jax. Jax would just cause problems. And it's like you just cause problems, bro. And, I fucking dude, I can't stand this guy. I can't stand this guy. Man, fucking
Shawn Michaels almost put the company out of business, if you think about it,
Yeah,
He almost
and
puts the company out of
he
business.
gets and this is only the beginning of a year of bullshit that he does. This is not even like this is like he just does this and then like he's fine the rest of he. I mean, the Undertaker basically said to Shawn Michaels, if you don't fucking do business, like, because Shawn Michaels almost didn't want a job to Austin at 14.
Yeah, I
Undertaker was
remember
like,
that. Yeah,
and I see why Undertaker had to go there because it's like somehow Vince is making this company about you. You're not a draw. You're not good on the mic, and like if we keep going down the road with you, we're gonna go out of business. Like there's no reality where Shawn remains a top guy and Austin isn't a top guy and WCW loses. That's just not going to happen.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. He almost put the business. He almost put WWF out of business. He really did.
Yeah. So, and again,
Um,
I'm like shitting on these women, but also the speech is basically implying like he may never come back. That's the other thing too. It's almost like I'm going to retire, which makes the fact that he like is back in 2 months even funnier.
yeah, it's
Like
like he's not even gone for a quarter of a year. You know that? Like
yeah,
he's not even gone for a quarter. He's like back so soon. It's so fucking ridiculous. I
this
couldn't
is like
believe I couldn't believe Vince Jr. fell for that. Or maybe Vince Jr. like he knows this is all bullshit, but he just like let it happen because he was like, you know what? Um, I
not going
needed
to
to
draw
get the
from
title off. I needed to get the title off this motherfucker. I don't care how I get it. This is fine. Like maybe that's what he was thinking. He was like, if this is how we get the belt off this fucking loser, that's fine with me. Maybe that's what he was thinking. I have no idea, but
yeah.
it is.
I'm glad the whole thing's on the pay per view. I am glad because you really need that context for this entire show. And again, like,
Yeah,
yeah, the show has issues, but again, like this,
they were
I
put into this
guarantee, like, if
to
John
become
Cena
something.
did this the night before SummerSlam, that's not going to be that good of a show, you know?
Yeah. Uh, and what's crazy is like how like so many people now like in the company like, oh, Shawn Michaels is so great. He's like, dude, he almost put the company out of business. Like, how do you guys like suck his dick so much like this? But anyways, let's move on because I hate Shawn Michaels. Let's go to match number 2. We got a guy with actual talent coming into the ring. It is Flash Funk, formerly known as Too Cold Scorpio. He comes out dancing out with his 2 Funkettes. They do this whole dancing thing. And as they're dancing their way through the entrance, and we get the slow camera shot of following them dancing down the entrance towards the ring, we see a fan with a sign that says WWF Fears ECF and W. I love that sign. That was very interesting.
It's
Anyway,
true.
yeah, this is gonna be a like what do you call it? Like a
Big fan,
what did you say?
big fan tag.
Yeah, 6-man tag. Very good. Yeah. It is Flash Funk teaming up with Billy Gunn of the Smoking Guns and Gold Dust with Marlena versus the Nation of Domination, who make their way through the crowd. We got Farouk and new members Crush and Savio Vega. We do see D'Lo Brown. He's one of the militant guys in the suits hanging around the Nation of Domination. That's kind of cool. Farouk, he grabs the microphone because he wants to talk before the match begins, but the mic's not working, and he's just like, "What the?" He's like, "Damn!" And then JC, he grabbed JC Ice's mic because he wraps to the ring, and his mic is off, so he gets another mic. He goes, "Give me a working mic," so they give him another microphone, but that one also doesn't work. So you actually hear Farouk go, "Damn!" Like you hear him say that because he's mad because he can't get his promo in because they don't give him any working microphones. This is how sloppy WWF has gotten. Oh, they're so sloppy.
I do like the entrance of the
Anyways,
crowd.
let's get to the
I do like
action.
the entrance of the crowd.
Oh man, dude, you and me. We mention it all the time, but
The vibe.
original Nation of Domination is so good. It's so good. The whole presentation is just so good, dude. I fucking love it. They need to recreate this now. Like they need to get who in WWF can they get? You just need one black dude, like one big ass black dude.
Uh,
Who could it be?
Obi Phoebe, Obi Femi, what the fuck his name is? Oba Fama, Obi, the guy from NXT.
Omar?
What?
Obafemi. Yeah, you get
Yeah.
Obafemi You get Obafemi, you get a bunch of dudes in suits, you get two white guys just rapping, and you get like a hot woman in black, just standing behind it. They don't have to do anything else but to stand there, and you just make them come out like this. It's just so fucking fire, dude. It's fire. Anyways, let's get to the action in this match. Goldust, he starts the match, he attacks, and everybody just jumps in. Everybody's like, remember, it's 6-man tag, there's 6 people, everyone's just fighting. The heels, they're like, oh, this is too much. They fucking get outside the ring to take a powder, and Flash Funk runs the ropes, and he comes up to the top of the turnbuckle, and he dives onto all of them onto the floor. Then they get back in the ring, they fight some more. Bart Gunn, he's a big, strong boy. He presses Flash Funk onto the heels on the floor again, but this time they actually cash Flash Funk, and then they beat him down, right?
Yeah.
Flash counters a double clothesline very beautifully. They try to do this double clothesline spot. He counters it very nicely, very smooth. And then he finally, after getting a big beatdown, he hot tags Bart Gunn in, and everybody once again gets back in the ring. Everyone's just fighting. Bart Gunn hits his top rope bulldog onto Farouk and covers him for the pin, but the referee is distracted because everybody is kind of just fighting. So then Crush drops a leg drop on Bart Gunn's head, and then he reverses the cover for Farouk to win the match for the Nation of Domination. That's a B. That's a good showing by everybody. B, what about you?
It's with Goldust in such a important storyline, it just kind of feels like a waste of him to be like with these two jobbers. I mean, I love Scorpio. I love Too Cold Scorpio, but I mean, people aren't taking him seriously at this point in WWE. And I would have liked it better if it was like a real team, like a real like team. What also kind of brings down is that we know that Bart Gunn's going to go nowhere. I mean, this is like he goes nowhere. So, but it was okay. It was
If you're gonna do a real team though, who can Goldust be team members with? With this thin WWF roster, Furnace and LaFon?
I would have had the Godwins and Too Cold Scorpio. There you go.
Oh, so you wouldn't even have Goldust in this match? Not even have Goldust in this match? I
think Goldust look bad. He's got a big at WrestleMania, and it makes him look bad.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, you're right. Good point. All right.
Hey,
so after this, yeah.
No, it's just why not the Godwins? Why not the Godwins and Too Cold Scorpio, or the Godwins and Bart Gunn for that matter?
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, Godwins and Bart Gunn probably could have fit. You know what would have been better if they did Flash Funk, like teaming up with the Godwins, and then you start doing this odd couple friendship thing where Flash Funk is slowly becoming friends with these fucking these hillbilly boys. That would have been. They could have filmed so many fun vignettes with that shit, but no.
Dude, that sounds like a Vince McMahon idea. That sounds like a Vince McMahon.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. Yeah, that would have been. Phineas is like, I want to be like you, Flash Funk. You get all these hot women, and he's like, yo, okay, then you gotta change your style, brother. And then they all do the whole thing, But nah, it's that would have been awesome. Actually, the more I think about it, I was like, that scene would have been pretty good. Yeah. Anyway, something else that's good. We got Doc Hendricks. He's in the back after this match, and he is with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they're going over to Final Four. And he goes, Austin, those 3 guys in the ring, you never beat any of those 3 guys. And Austin says, what? Like, I tossed them all out in the Royal Rumble, jackass. that was awesome. Yeah. He goes, everybody in this company has a conspiracy against me. They're always holding me back. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to be champion, you piece of trash. This was when Austin was so popular, because this was the angry man Austin, where he's like, the world is against me. Everyone's always trying to there's a point in every man's life. I personally believe there's a point in every man's life where we think the world is against us, right? Yeah. Like, oh, the world is everyone's always fucking with me. Everyone's always trying to get me. Austin was the manifestation of that. He was the embodiment of that feeling, and I think that's why so many people connected with Austin. And this was my favorite. Like the whole DTA, don't trust anyone attitude. And it's like, this is perfect. It's like, oh, there's a conspiracy. Everyone's trying to hold me back. You're a piece of trash. I'm going to fucking win. Oh, I loved it. It was like a fantastic Austin promo. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I loved it, and I love seeing his promos. And man, the advancements this man has made in terms of a character in a year is astonishing. Like how he's come comfortable in his own skin like this is just what a transformation. And he's on the verge.
We talk about like you got to add one thing or something. This is like a completely different Austin than Stunning Steve Austin. Like you can't really tell these like the same two people.
Yeah, I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun. All right. So after this, we get a recap of Rocky Maivia beating Hunter Helmsley on Raw for the Intercontinental title. So these guys have just so much history between these two, right from the get-go. And we're going to go to match number 3. It is for the Intercontinental title. Hunter Helmsley, the former champion, going up against the new Intercontinental champion, Rocky Maivia. Hunter has to work a little slower in this match for Rocky because Rocky is new. And you can see there's a noticeable difference in how he's working because it's not as normal pace. After a slam onto the floor, Hunter starts beating up on the Rock on the floor for a while. He starts beating on the heat process. Rocky Maivia, however, starts firing back to cheers mostly, but you do hear some fans booing while he's making his comeback. Even though Rocky does some good moves, like he does a great looking crossbody, doesn't matter. People see, you can still hear some boos. And I think what's happening here is people, you know how like when Dominic Mysterio first started in WWF, people were just booing him because it was like, dude, he's not that good in the beginning, but he was getting shoved down our throats, right? He was getting like these big time matches, even though like he wasn't that good. Same thing that happens in New Japan Pro Wrestling with Shota Umino. He's like thrown into the main event at Wrestle Kingdom, and he's just not that good. You feel that happening here because The Rock is noticeably a worse wrestler than Hunter, and he's the champion. And it's just like that's why you hear people booing. But anyway, Rock, he does this great move. He has this amazing float over DDT, right? That looks great. So he does that, but they somehow mistime it a bit. I don't know. There's like a weird chemistry between these two. They're not 100% on the same page. Hunter starts fighting back, but then Goldust comes back.
I'm sorry. What? Not on the same page sometimes, but you can see the chemistry is there. Like the reason why they were constantly matched against one another is that they definitely have some type of chemistry, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point to make. Their timing isn't there yet between those two, but there is a chemistry between them. You're right. Yeah, so that's a great description of it. Hunter does start making a comeback, and he starts fighting back, but then Goldust comes out to distract Hunter, which allows Rocky to hit a back suplex with a cover to win and retain the Intercontinental title. After that, Goldust gets on the apron to face off against Hunter because they have issues with Marlena, right? Because Hunter Helmsley wants Marlena. And while this is happening, Marlena is now outside on the floor. She's standing near the guardrails when all of a sudden this massive woman comes out and starts choking Marlena. It is Chyna in her debut. After she chokes out Marlena, the guards have to like take her away. They don't name her Chyna. They go, "Who is that weird woman?" If you first watch this, you legit thought that was like maybe a fan or something.
That's a fan.
Yeah, you think it's a fan because the way they did it is, it's just so fast, and they take her away that you think it's like a legit fan who just got really upset with Marlena. I would say this was a pretty decent match. Even though with the mistiming and stuff, the significance of what happens afterwards, and just the fact that these two have good chemistry, I gave it a B+. What did you think about this match and the afterwards segment with Chyna?
I mean, I definitely think like this is a great match. Also because the significance of so much. First was I mean, it's not a great match, but it's a very good match. It's the
Mhm.
first meeting of Hunter Rock. You know,
Yes.
I I gotta say, I don't think people give enough credit for how fast The Rock gets good. Um,
Yes.
he's less than a year in, and he's moving better than a lot of people that we watch, including a lot of veterans in this era. Like, if you think about it, like we compare him to Dominic Mysterio, dude. This is like so. Dominic shows up at SummerSlam 2022. Imagine by SummerSlam 2020. Imagine by SummerSlam 2020, Dominic Mysterio is the biggest star in the industry. Like, people are going nuts for him at SummerSlam 2022. You know what I'm saying? 3 years ago, like that's how
Yeah.
fast The Rock is set. And he's really picking up on it fast. Is this the best match ever? No. But considering this is his first ever singles match on pay-per-view and he's been wrestling less than a year, I say it's pretty fucking good. Given, you know what I'm saying? I say it's
I
pretty.
also it is good, but you don't see it too much here, and I wonder if this is the beginning of where Hunter Triple H really started resenting The Rock because remember he had to drop his Intercontinental title to this guy, and
Yeah,
Hunter Triple H. If we can see that The Rock is not as good in the ring as Hunter, Triple H sees it, and
yeah.
he's like, I can't believe I had to lose my title to this guy, and this guy sucks, and I have to be in a feud with this guy. I have to carry this motherfucker. I think that's where the resentment probably came from.
Where he is in terms of his journey as a pro wrestler, he doesn't suck. If he was 7 years in, yeah, he sucks. But he's not even a year in.
Yeah,
He's in.
yeah, you're right. For a new guy, he doesn't suck. You're right, but I think it's just the fact that like, why is this guy becoming champion?
I think Hunter realizes if he keeps progressing it like this, he's going to be the biggest star ever, and Hunter resents that because Hunter has, Hunter's been at it for years at this point, and The Rock does surpass him. The Rock does surpass him, and he always will surpass him because The Rock is just better than him in everything that they do. Um, Here's another thing I want to point out, man, because now we have been going since '83, and now we're here, and we know what happens. Chyna. Like you just see something like she gets it, like she gets it. The way she grabs Marlena off camera, like the little things, the way she does it, the way like her hand comes in frame, I'm like, man, this is another person who got it from the jump. And Triple H would not be where he is today if it wasn't for Chyna coming around at this point because she adds something so different. If you nowadays, it's whatever. Women are all over the place. There's no women on this show. Now there's a woman
Mm-hmm.
who can fucking be a physical threat to everybody. And this
So all the women up to this point look like Sable, Sunny,
Mhm.
Marlena, right?
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
a big jawed, fucking huge arms woman.
Mhm.
It's
And to
abnormal.
Hunter's credit, he's gonna cower when things get tough for him. He cowers, and he has this woman take care of it for him, and that's such a unique dynamic that no one's ever done before in wrestling at this point, right? And I think it really helped Hunter, and that's where he is today. He doesn't want to admit it, but I think Chyna
No, but
and
he wasn't he the one who discovered China though?
yeah, him and Shawn Michaels. But I think
Yeah.
now because of how it all ended, they don't want to give Chyna the credit that she deserves. But he wouldn't be anywhere without Chyna. Like he just wouldn't. He would have been a fucking loser. Like that's it. And I think we're gonna have a lot of fun watching Chyna develop because I think she deserves a lot of credit for a lot of different things. The fact that women are so big part of the show, the fact that women mix it up, like the fact that Hunter is running the company, she deserves a lot of credit, and she'll never get it. She'll never get it.
China is a very tragic story, right?
Yeah,
It's very tragic what happened with her, and it's very sad. But and I'm not a China fan, by the way. Yeah, if you guys
I
have
think
I'm not a China fan. But even I, not being a China fan, have to admit the influence she had with women's wrestling. She had a dude. She is like She is like almost like television going from black and white to color. You
Yeah,
know, like she was the beginning of the physicality of women in wrestling, and she was for somebody who grew up in the who went through the late '90s. She was massive. She was a huge star. She was on like award shows and everything. And I agree. Like, yeah, Triple H was the one who discovered her, and Triple H was the one who came up with the idea of her being his bodyguard and stuff. That really helped his career. Um, and I give him credit for that. But man, he did her dirty. He did her. That was the thanks. He did her dirty. He did her dirty real bad. But
he
yeah, it's a tragic story. But that's why you don't want to talk about it though, because it's you. Do you have to understand WWE's position? What's the benefit for them to bring this up? Because ultimately it ends tragically, right? It ends
yeah.
tragically, and it's kind of their own fault. Like when I say it's WWE's fault that it ends tragically. So why would you bring her up? Because ultimately, when you tell her story, you got to tell how you fucked her over at the end. That's why they don't bring it up. You know?
I really would love it, like if somebody, a third party, maybe even Dark Side of the Ring, did a completely uncensored version of what exactly went down between Stephanie, Chyna, and Triple H. No, nothing held back. When was the moment Triple H realized he's actually going to be with Stephanie? When did they tell Chyna? What did Vince actually say? I think JR told Chyna get over it or something. Like, I think he's admitted that he said, you need to, you're a grown person, you need to get over it. And it's like, but how can you get over it? There's no fucking, because he didn't just leave you for another woman. He left you for the daughter of the guy who controls wrestling at this point. There's no WCW, there's no ECW, there's just him. You know, how can you get over it? Where are you supposed to go? And I don't know. We'll get to, when we get there. We'll get there. We got a long road to go. There's a lot of happy days ahead for Hunter and this Chyna.
By the way, just to respond to what you said, their Dark Side of the Ring did actually do an episode. They filmed an
Oh,
episode of Dark Side of the Ring for Chyna, but there was so much to it, like, and it was so good. It was originally supposed to be a part of like I think season 2 or 3, that they were like, "There's so much here that we're just gonna release it as its own separate documentary," which they did. It's called Vice Versa China. It's like it's over an hour long. That's why it's
did
not even.
they get into what Hunter and Stephanie did to her?
I don't know. I never watched it because
I
it
gotta watch it.
wasn't technically. It's technically not a Dark Side of the Ring episode. It's its
Oh, okay.
own.
Watch
But
it.
the same guys who made Dark Side of the Ring, I think, made it, and they were like, it was originally supposed to be an episode, but there was so much content. They were like, it's too big of an episode, so they
This is
did the whole thing. I'm gonna have to
this
watch
is the
that
thing.
now. I'm gonna watch it now. Yeah.
I think the Stephanie Hunter China situation. I feel like there's a moment, and someone knows this moment. There's a moment where they're like, "Fuck her, get her the fuck out." And Jim Ross was there, or fucking Gerald Briscoe was there, or Sean was there. Somebody was sitting there, or Undertaker, that's been keeping their mouth shut, that is gonna like basically ruin Hunter's life. Or Hunter's like, fuck her, get the fuck out of this company. I'm with Stephanie now. She'll never be, I don't want her gone. And Jim Ross and Vince are like, okay. Or Vince tells that to Jim Ross. He's like, okay. There's a moment where they decide to fuck her. They're like, fuck her. And I want to know that moment. I'm guarantee you there's a moment where they were like, we're gonna fucking ruin this bitch's life for existing. For existing because my daughter now wants to play the game.
I
You know,
wonder if this has it. This is if you ever watched Dark Side of the Ring, those guys make pretty good episodes, and this is made from the same guys. This China documentary called Vice Versa China is actually made from the same guys. So I gotta watch that. This came out in 2021. How come I never heard of this? But yeah, I gotta fucking check this out. This sounds good. Vice Versa China came out in 2021. It's an hour and 30 minutes. Yeah, it's made from the same guys who did Dark Side of the Ring. This is gonna be fucking great.
we're gonna have a lot of China, but we got to move on because she hasn't even begun. All she did was grab
Yeah.
fucking Terry Reynolds' hair, where you have all this to say. Yeah.
What a debut! What a debut! Yeah,
Yeah.
if you, dude, I think I think if I had watched this, I would have thought it was a regular fan. Like, suppose I would have been like, "Oh my god, that fucking fan attack!" I would have
You know who
really
makes
thought
the
that.
angle? You know who makes the angle for me is Hunter. Because Hunter looks shocked. Hunter looks like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like he doesn't look
Yeah,
like he this out or anything. Like he's like, what the fuck is going on in front of my eyes? And if you're a fan, you're like, oh, that must not be part of the script because even Hunter doesn't know what's going on. You know?
yeah.
No, well.
All right. So after this match, Kevin Kelly, he's in the back with Jay. What?
I said Hunter will know what's going on in 2001. You know, get her out of here.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So Kevin Kelly is in the back with Vader and Paul Bear, his manager, and they talk about Austin and uh, so Vader is cutting a promo on Steve Austin,
Yeah.
but he like almost goes, Austin, you let that that gator butt get that canary mouth. He was trying to say gator and then canary, but he called it canator in the beginning. He goes, you left that canator. I mean, that gator butt get that canary mouth in trouble. And he starts going and he starts talking about Bret Hart, you think you're the best there is. Well, I'm gonna kill you. Undertaker, rest in peace for you. All this. Not a good promo by Vader. It was, but I think Canator is really funny. I want to start using that. Canator. Um, let's move on. Let's move on to our fourth match. What do you say, Ray? Tag team title match for this?
Yeah.
Your favorite tag team, Doug Furnas, Phil LaFon, versus the champions, Davey Boy Smith and Owen Hart. And when you're watching, the fact that we're watching WCW and their tag team division is so fucking good, and you're watching this shit fucking tag team division, I'm sick and tired of Owen Hart and Davey Boy Smith as tag team champion.
Not that good of a team. I know that's sacrilege because Owen died and everything he does is wonderful in hindsight, but the team stinks. Sorry.
Dude, you know what's they're not a good tag team, but they're the best tag team in WWF. That's how bad WWF tag teams are in 1997, 1996. It's awful. It's dog shit. So anyway, Davey Boy Smith and Lauren, they come out with Clarence Mason. And they recap the issues Davey Boy Smith and Owen Hart have been having. They're champions, but there's friction between those two. Owen Hart and Furnas, they start the match. There were issues, it felt like, with these guys when they were doing their Summer Survivor Series matchup, but not, and it still there seems to be something off between Owen Hart and Doug Furnas. They just don't have like good chemistry.
I think Doug Furnas stinks. That's what's off. He's not good. That's what's off. Is that these guys? Why the fuck how many matches are Owen and British Bulldog, who are like top heels, gonna be wrestling like other heel type wrestlers? Bro, like this is just a bathroom break. And again, no one talks about this anymore because you're not supposed to say anything Owen Hart stinks. But it's fucking garbage, man. This is a waste of time.
Yeah. Owen Hart does have better chemistry with Phil LaFon, though. Owen causes a distraction. Davey Boy Smith gets in the ring. He makes a cover, but Owen Hart causes a distraction. And this doesn't let Davey Boy Smith get the referee to do the count. But Davey doesn't care. He just does like a flip. He gets up and he does a flip for some reason. I'm like, what are you doing? This is kind of stupid. Commentary team does mention, hey, by the way, I know this match is boring, so we're letting you know that Sonny and Jim Cornette are hosting the hotline. So if you wanna call in for the hotline, please do that. They don't even show people in the back anymore. They just tell you on commentary, which I thought was fun. They're like, I guess the hotline wasn't selling. It's just like an afterthought now.
Yeah.
Owen Hart and Davey, they do start arguing back and forth, and Phil LaFon takes both of them and does a double noggin knocker on them. but then Owen Hart heel kicks Davey Boy by accident, and then they start fighting each other. Doug Furnas comes in, does legit 3 moves, then tags LaFon back in. And then Phil LaFon and Doug Funny, they do a series of quick combo hits on Owen Hart. But Owen Hart survives all of them, hits his enziguri. Things break down where everybody's fighting each other. Davey Boy Smith, he gets Phil LaFon in like a power slam position. But Owen hits LaFon with his Slammy Award. Referee sees this and calls it a disqualification. So Phil LaFon and Doug Furnas wins the match. Afterwards, Davey starts arguing Owen. He's mad because, like, dude, I had him in my finishing move. Why did you cost us the loss with that bullshit? And he takes one of Owen's slammies and he starts throwing them down. But ultimately, they calm down and you leave together. C+, this was a clusterfuck. I did not like this match at all.
I didn't like this. I don't like the angle between these two.
Yeah,
I don't like anything about this. Man, the Hart Foundation saves this storyline. You know, like it all ends with Bret Hart being like, "We need to all reunite." And
yes.
I love that. I love that angle. You know what I love about that angle? Is that Bret Hart tells Owen that he's right, and that Owen was always right, he was wrong, and they need to all be back together. And Owen cries when he hugs Bret. And to me, the fact that he cries is like, I never even wanted to turn on you. Like you made me turn on you,
Yeah.
but now you know I'm right. And now, like, it's such a good angle when it's such a good payoff. If you actually give a shit about the show, it's such a great angle. But we're not there yet. This shit stinks. So yeah.
Yeah. And you know, like we talked about this before. Phil LaFon and Doug Furnas are like WWF's answer to Dean Malenko, but they're failing very short of that. They're just
it's kind of interesting to me that like there was like there's no like indie guys that they can bring in to be, I guess maybe Reckless Youth, although he was in developmental and then it didn't work out, but like there was no like indie guys they could bring in to be like their Dean Malenko and their fucking Chris Benoit, because I think they wanted something like that, and they just everyone they got was like dog shit.
yeah. I think Phil LaFon and Doug Furnas were probably the best choices, maybe, and they just weren't on that level. You know?
The Reckless Youth thing is always interesting because I feel like he was going to become like a huge star and then nothing happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was too reckless. That's the problem.
But was he technically gifted like those guys?
Reckless, do you know the story behind Reckless Youth or not really?
No, not really.
Reckless Youth was like the first Young Bucks, fucking CM Punk, like indie mega darling. Like, and this is like the beginning of the internet, but like everyone was like, Reckless Youth is gonna be the next guy. Like he's the
Oh
indie.
no, I
Like
remember reading about him, but I don't think they were looking for like an indie darling. They were looking for guys who were
no,
technically gifted.
they briefly did stuff with him, and then they kind of moved on. He has a real job, but he was like the first like, oh
Indie
man, I'm
darling.
a wrestling fan. I watched Reckless Youth. You know that bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. He was like one of the first indie darlings. Yeah, but well, anyways, they don't. Doug Furnas and Phil LaFon, they don't have it. That's the point. All right, so it's time for our main event, guys. It is for our final one. It's gonna be a long one, and before the main event, we got Doc Hendricks talking with Undertaker, who has rediscovered his edge. This is his promo. I swear to God, his words. I have rediscovered my edge, but not all of it. I was like, all right, not all of it. And he gives a warning to all the 3 competitors. Terrible promo by Undertaker. It is for the final. This is the final match of the pay-per-view. Final 4. Winner of this becomes a champion. We got Vader, whose music hits, and you see a black man. There's what do you call it? His music hits. He comes out with Paul Bear, and then afterwards you get Austin. And as Austin comes out, he goes into the ring and he goes nose to nose with Vader, and then like showing no fear. Then you get Undertaker out, and then you get Bret Hart comes out. But as Bret Hart's coming out, he talks to Kevin Kelly as well, because all four guys have to get their input. And he says they're all tough, but let the best man win, which is gonna be him. Undertaker and Vader, it's like a fatal four match. You can all fight at the same time. Undertaker and Vader, they square off first, while Austin and Bret Hart, they square off.
It's kind of
what did you say?
It's like a Royal Rumble match, but with pinfalls allowed.
Yes.
So that's why it's the final four guys of that Royal Rumble match.
Yeah.
That's why it's these four guys. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And feel free to chime in as I'm going through the action whenever you want.
Let me just say this before you. I'm going to say this, and maybe you agree with me. I thought this was the best Fatal 4-Way match I ever saw. This is how a Fatal 4-Way match should be worked. My problem with modern Fatal 4-Ways, or even 3-Ways, or whatever, is that two guys lie on the ground like sacks of shit, and then the other guys do spots, and then one of those guys falls down like a sack of shit, and then the other guy gets the ring and they do spots. So it's really like, it's not this match. There is action constantly. If Undertaker and Vader are on one side, Bret and Austin are on the other side, and they're constantly, and it's just nonstop. And I love, that's how it should be. That's how a fight between four guys would really be if four guys fought each other.
That's a good point, and this is very good. And I do think Fatal 4-Ways should all be fought in this style, right?
It's amazing.
Yeah. So the people with the most amount of like rivalry between each other, they square off, right? They pair it off, I could say. And then Undertaker just goes, you know what, fuck it, and he starts attacking everybody. He says, I'm gonna fucking hit Austin, I'm gonna hit Bret, I'm gonna hit Vader, and then Vader and Taker, they start fighting on the floor, and then Vader shoves Howard Finkel off the chair, and he charges Undertaker with the chair, but Undertaker fucking puts his big boot up, and he big boots the chair right into Vader's face. And then he grabs Vader and he throws Vader into the steps. And Vader's left eye is legit busted open.
It's
blood. Awesome. He's gushing it. Yeah, it's just gushing out. It gets ugly. It gets really nasty. What do you think that busted up the thing? His eye, the steps or the chair?
It looks like the steps to me. That's a bad one.
Yeah, it's a bad cut. Yeah, it's disgusting.
But it makes him look like a badass.
Yeah. So after this, they kind of switch dancing partners. So Undertaker and Steve Austin start squaring off, and Vader and Bret Hart start squaring off. And Vader starts using the chair on Bret Hart. He starts hitting Bret Hart with the chair. Austin gets backdropped on the floor onto the concrete aisle by Undertaker. But then Bret Hart and Undertaker, they end up being alone in the ring as Austin rams Vader into the steps and he actually picks up the steps and throws it on Vader. Then Austin sends Vader kind of awkwardly into a crew member, and then they start hitting each other with the ring bell and the fucking championship title belt. Meanwhile, when they get back in the ring, Undertaker, he crotches Austin on the turnbuckle, and then Vader rams Bret Hart into the rail. So they're constantly changing partners. Dancing partners. They're constantly changing who they're beating the shit out of. And then when he gets ran into rail, Bret actually sends Vader over the rails. While this is happening, they show you Sid in the back watching this on a monitor. Because remember, he gets the winner on Raw the next night. Okay?
Yeah.
So finally, after fighting with each other, Bret Hart and Undertaker, they decide, you know what, let's just double team Austin. So they start double teaming Austin, but then it's short-lived that they start fighting each other again. Vader misses a top rope moonsault, and then Undertaker chokes him out with cables. Bret Hart and Vader, they start exchanging a series of punches on each other, but Vader's winning most of it. He's like he's just like beating the shit out of Bret Hart. So Bret Hart just like low blow kicks Vader in the nut. And then Bret Hart tosses Austin over the top rope. Remember, this is not just a 4 match where you can eliminate your opponent by pin or submission. you can also eliminate them by throwing them over the top rope like the Royal Rumble. So Austin got thrown out by Bret Hart, and he's the first one eliminated. This leaves 3 men left. Vader finally had enough, and he takes off his blood-soaked mask. Like, it's just like covered in blood. He's like, I gotta take this fucking thing off. Takes it off. Paul Bear, he hits Undertaker with the urn, and Undertaker goes out for a bit. Then Bret Hart superplexes Vader off the top rope, and he puts on the sharpshooter. That was an amazing spot. Undertaker, though, knocks Bret Hart off and out, which is kind of stupid because if I was Undertaker, I would have just let him eliminate Vader, and then you can, beat up Bret Hart. But whatever. It doesn't matter because Austin, he returns. He comes back. Even though he's eliminated, he's like, fuck this Bret Hart. He's always getting in my way. He comes out and he starts beating up on Bret Hart some more. Then Vader goes for a Vader bomb, but Undertaker low blows Vader and pushes him off the top rope for the second elimination. So Vader got low blow twice in this match. Undertaker chokeslams Bret Hart, which gets a lot of cheers. And then Undertaker tries to tombstone Bret Hart. But as he's backing up near the ropes, and Austin pulls Bret Hart off of Undertaker's shoulder. And this distraction, when he does that, Undertaker turns to face Austin like, what the hell are you doing, bro? Like, I had him in a tombstone position. And this distraction allows Bret Hart to clothesline Undertaker over the top rope to win the world title. And afterwards, Undertaker is pissed off. He stalks Austin to the back. Bret looks pissed off because he's like, I didn't want to fucking win like this. And then we get a
Tear down.
Yeah, then we get like a WrestleMania 13 hype video about, hey, WrestleMania only happens once a year. This is where legends are made. And as Bret is celebrating, Sid comes out to confront Bret Hart because they're going to be having a match the next night on Raw. This was a good match. It's a fun match. There was some parts of it I just didn't think it was that good. So I gave it a B+. You seem to like this a lot more than I do.
Yeah, I really liked it. You know why? I think because I've been watching Raw. So they've been doing a lot of 4-ways on Raw lately with the women and the men. And some fans are like, why are they doing that? I don't understand. It's like, well, because Raw's no longer 3 hours. It's now like 2 to 2.5 hours. And SmackDown's more than 2 hours. And they don't have house shows. And they have to get these guys in the actual fucking rings since they're paying these fucking idiots millions of dollars. So they do fatal 4-ways. That way you have 4 guys or 3 guys, whatever, in the ring. And they all are the same fucking formula. Like I said, some people laid it. I mean, the worst was the men's Money in the Bank match. There's like, fucking LA Knight would lay there for like 30 minutes, get up, do a spot, and then fall back down and lay there for another fucking 40 minutes. And it's stupid. It's horrible. And here, it is nonstop action. It is nonstop excitement. All 4 guys look like the toughest fucking guys in the world. It's anyone's game. Like you could believe, as a fan in '97, any of these guys could win at any moment. And it's nonstop action. The fans are loving it. It's easy to follow along. And you know who else? What else makes this so good is Jim Ross's commentary. Jim Ross does a lot to fix Vader in this match. He treats Vader like he's a fucking T-Rex on the loose, right?
Yeah.
And this is probably Vader's best match since he got to WWE.
Yeah, I agree. This is Vader's best match since he got to WWF, yes.
Yeah. And and the thing about it is, I think they do the 2 guys do spots, and then they lay there like pieces of shit, and then 2 other guys do spots because they think the audience is stupid. They think the audience can't follow along, and they want to dumb it down. And it's not true, because when you have these 4 guys and you have announcers who know what they're doing, it's so exciting and it's so much fun. I think the one thing that hurt it is the over-the-top rope stipulation. However, I get it from a storyline point of view. They are trying to recreate the Royal Rumble because of the controversy of how Austin won. And so that's why they have that rule. If I could go back, and I don't know, I would have said, hey, now that it's for the title, you have to all pin each other. You know what I'm saying? Like you can only lose by pinfall submission. But I get why they had that stipulation. It's to replicate the Rumble. You know?
Yeah,
But I really,
that or I I didn't like that Austin like got so involved after he got kicked out. I mean, I'm just like not a fan of shit like that.
well, I think
Um,
it's just so that he's out of control. That they can't like he's
yeah,
not to go to the back.
okay, I can see that. Yeah. Um, but yeah, it was just it was good. Don't get me wrong, it's still good. B plus is very high marks. It is a very interesting fatal four way match to watch. Go out of your way to see it if you can. It's good, but
All right,
not
so
not good enough to
let's
save this
review.
whole pay per view. I think.
Yeah, the pay per view's a waste of time until you get to this match. I also think you know what I also thought from this match. I think these four guys are trying to say to Vince, you don't need Shawn Michaels. Like you don't need Shawn Michaels. The four of us got it. Like we can be your top guys. You don't need this fucking guy. You know, and I think that they put more effort in because it's also like he kind of fucked them. He kind of because like I'm sure now a lot of things that happen in this match are going to happen on Raw the next few weeks are affected because of Shawn Michaels' decision to be a bitch. So I think these guys were like motivated to really like. I think Vader was motivated. It's like, okay, Shawn's out of the way. He's wrong about me. Look how good I am. You know.
Hmm.
All right. So let's go over the next 4 weeks. Next week,
Oh yeah.
Super Bowl 7, Hogan versus Piper. In 2 weeks, Uncensored 97, Team NWO versus Team WCW versus Team Piper. It's some weird Survivor Series match. Again,
That is weird. Yeah.
it's weird with some weird stipulations. In 3 weeks, WrestleMania 13, Sid versus Undertaker. And then in 4 weeks, Spring Stampede 97 with DDP versus the Macho Man. Yeah, dig it. What are you looking forward to?
Um, Not a particularly the whole pay per view, but I even though I know it's probably gonna be better than the WWF pay per views, but I'm interested in that weird three way because this doesn't
Yeah,
sound like I think it's gonna be a clusterfuck, right?
yeah, I think so. You're right.
Yeah,
I
so
think you're
I'm
right.
interested in that, and I guess WrestleMania 13. What about you?
WrestleMania, and I am interested to see DDP and Macho Man, their first big match. That should be fun. That should be a good time. And I'm interested in old WCW shows. I've never seen these shows. This is when they're on top of the world. I've seen the '98 pay-per-views, and there's some great moments and some shitty moments on those, but we'll get there. But I don't know. I'm interested. I'm interested to see if Hogan and Piper can recapture the magic again 2 months later. We'll find out next week.
Yeah, we will find out. Yeah.
All right, guys, that's the show. I'm Ray Goots. That's Andrew Lee. Please subscribe. Please follow us on Instagram. Give us a like. Give us a follow. Give us something. And we will see you next week for Super Bowl, Daddy. See you then.
B.